Miguel Novelo is an interdisciplinary artist, an educator, and a community organizer. His pieces have been exhibited at multiple locations in the United States and Mexico. Miguel, all yours. I'll stop my share, and now you can share your screen.
Awesome. Let's share sound. And cool. I think you can see it now. Thank you,
Yep.
Piero. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for having me here. I'm going to talk briefly about my work in general and how I'm using technoshamanic practices, and lately how my work is being transformed into it, the way that I understand energy in the way of thermodynamics, and really thinking about memory, communication, and the way that energy transfers from humans and all living things. A little bit about myself. I'm a art practicer. I do a lot of things with emerging media, with lately immersive media, so augmented reality, virtual reality, a lot of visual installations like audio and sound and visual installations. And I'm teaching right now at Stanford multiple classes from Intro to Art and Technology to Moving Image 1 and 2, where we do a survey on all forms of making moving image, from frame by frame to the latest practices, for example, generative AI. And also I'll be teaching a course in spring with Shane Denson and Kamal Auerbach, professors at the Art and Art History Department at Stanford, on AI, aesthetics, and practice. And I also teach California College for the Arts and Avatars design class, and at San Jose State University, I'm teaching an intro to video. Intro to video in the digital media arts department. Yeah, so I teach a lot. I like to communicate with my students, and most of the times I teach what I'm actually practicing, which we'll be overseeing today. Before I talk about my practice, I want to talk about this exhibition that I curated in spring, May, Technology as Nature. That's what I was trying to do in this exhibition called Blooming Hallucination, where I have mentors, mentees, colleagues, and we're all working on technology or utilizing technology in a way to speak about nature. The whole point of the show was trying to acknowledge that technology is just a tool, and it allows us to connect with nature. And technology is just a subset of our human nature. And we wanted to make the exhibition like a living being, with each piece becoming one part of this body. And we have mostly work that allows you to see the world from a different perspective, or try to question like our ways that we utilize technologies in order to make sense of our world. This is Arina Pozniak, Blooming Hallucination poster, which was the designer of the exhibition, but also a practitioner and artist. The poster of the exhibition was printed in this paper that holds seeds from California. The idea is to, as she says, art exhibition might end, but they sow the seeds of ideas within us. While posters for such shows often end up discarded, this one is destined to take root and bloom, like those thoughts and speculations viewers acquire here. So in this case, we're utilizing graphic design as a mode to communicate an idea and also have a transformation moment and really make sense of this connection with nature. You can see the seeds here. And right now I have one poster being planted at my studio, where we're doing a time lapse so we can see the growth of the poster. I'm just gonna do a quick survey of like some of the pieces. This is Garden of Eden by Leah Bent. She's one of my students who took world building and moving image 2 with me. And in this piece of Garden of Eden, Leah created these processes of volcano processes, basically the beginning of life. That's she replicated the same chemistry that created the first moments of electricity that allowed for cells to be created. This is very highly complex, somewhat 3D printer machine that puts the specific chemistry at the specific rhythm in order to have this controlled tabletop experiment of the beginning of life. While we cannot speculate there's life or cells, new cells in this space, you can see how the residue of the experiment does look like a volcano underwater. And the piece was sort of moving this electricity back to this LED in order to showcase the power that is being presented here. Oh, the energy that's being presented here. Some other pieces were more about like the time scale and how we can perceive time differently with different machines or different tools. For example, Carl Speletic with the Bornell Galactic Positioning System. It was a tabletop experiment about this laser that allows us to see time in a different form. Or Kelly O'Leary in the back, where there's this mountain with gravel that speaks about our human nature to try to move far to the stars, and perhaps bad parts of human nature, as her piece speculates about these companies that want to add servers, internet servers on the moon. So not all not all nature has to be like positive, but we also seen other negative aspects of our human nature with technology. This is Thierry Rebux and King Kenye, Kai-Hai Plastia. This piece right now is actually shown at PST, Pacific Standard Time, by the Getty. And in this piece, Thierry and Kian are showing this simulation of microplastics and how the ocean grabs these microplastics and transforms them back into a natural form. This is Adeline Herold, Mus domesticus. This is by one of my closest friends right now, and she's thinking about how mice have adapted into human nature, right? The mice have become this human companion and really adapted to our environments. Yet she's telling me when she finds mice in her house, her first instinct was to, oh my God, I gotta kill them. This thought of Adeline, who is like really caring of animals in her ethics and philosophy, wants to respect all living forms, was very horrendous to really think about this moment of like, wow, I gotta get rid of them. So instead of doing that, after reflecting on that thought, she decides to try to understand them better. So for over a few months, she's been recording them with contact mics all around her house in the basement, trying to hear and understand and feel their patterns and really try to have a connection with these living forms that are in her house. I'm gonna play for a second a little bit of the recording. What we're listening is like a transducer speaker placed in behind the wall. So the mice were actively brought back from New Mexico, where she lives, in her basement, all the way into Berkeley, 1207 Gallery. And in this form, this speaks to all these art pieces. It speaks to my practice, my thoughts, and what I'm thinking in the way I'm utilizing technology. It was COVID a few years ago. Everybody was moving to living in a space of Zoom mediated by our technologies. And we rely on it in order to have these human connections and basically trying to grab whatever humanity was left, right? Like trying to really utilize technology to be more human. That idea, while it was fascinating and entertaining and really explore my practice into different forms, it also makes me question technology much, much more and really try to reconcile with technology in a way that why I'm using this material, why I'm working with this forms of emerging media. And that's how I start thinking that technology is nature, or computers are a part of nature and they'll go back to it. And I think in this way of thinking technology as part of my nature and human nature allows me to be more critical to the tools I'm utilizing, because now I'm thinking this will go back to nature, this is part of an environment, but it also allows me to think more as like an extension of myself, like a cybernetics, right? Like this is part of my system, and this has opened so many other possibilities of understanding myself and understanding how I can create. Adeline's piece, where she invited us to hear like a mice and have these connections with the mice that live in her home, relates to my practice in the way I utilize avatars. In the sense that avatars are this bridge between multiple worlds. There's this body that you can become in order to engage in a world that you won't have access as human. Avatars, in a way, is my way to start getting into techno-shamanism. This is the first piece I would like to present. It's done by The Hand That Feeds You. It's an interactive installation about dogs and humans. My dad is a veterinarian. I grew up in a household where we talk about animals our whole life, and they take care of animals. And I have this question about dogs being more human than dogs itself, more humans than animals, or fierce biological machine. So domestication as a biocultural technology, virtualization, a human desire for control over nature. I see dogs as a proxy to how we engage with nature, like these living forms that we have adapted to fulfill many of our needs. And is not necessarily a machine, but it's more like this living form that it's more human now. It has more traits for our cells that different themselves. I'm very inspired by like how we see pets, this idea of pet, and how it works for us, and how pet or domestication is a form of technology rather than culture. The piece itself is a game engine that you explore and find other dogs around, and they tell you their stories about how they have been used for technology purposes and eventually being killed by these experiments or be killed by these processes of technology. The colors blue and yellow is to acknowledge how the dogs perceive the world. And most of these explorations I'm doing embodying an avatar of a dog, inviting you to become a dog, get into this underworld and explore and engage with other dogs in order to get their stories. I'm actively developing this piece right now. And the point is that we'll keep updating as I keep adding dogs or new technologies into this game engine. This piece was created at a visiting artist residency in New Mexico, which is the second city or second state with more dogs per humans. I noticed while I was in Albuquerque, there was like many dogs everywhere. And that invited me to really think about them in the way that we utilize dogs as humans, from security purposes to surrogate children, right? Like it becomes like a children, or for accessories, like a fashion statements, or commodity goods to get money by them, from them, and for many other purposes. Humans have found ways to utilize and modify dogs in order to become a tool, actively transforming it into technology. And I can keep going with examples, right? Like Dogs are used for looking for missing people. Dogs are used in airports. Dogs are used in, and even a pet. It's a form of use of company, where the dogs primarily don't have a choice whether to become taken care of or not. And I'm making these analogies in comparison with other animals that are wild. In later versions of it, you can see the dog that you are, and you can also explore the world through smell. So I was trying to see if I can find the smell version, but there is. Like I'm trying to make the smell being a way of moving through between dogs versus just by look. And the landscape is vaguely a representation of New Mexico's landscape, where I come up with this idea. There's some renders of possible installations where I'm thinking about utilizing the hand as a way of moving around the world with computer vision. I'm using the hand as like a proxy, as a communication with the dog. The dogs primarily tend to smell a hand or get afraid of the hand or get close to the hand. It's a way of like interacting, like at this extremity that we have a way to engage with them. So that's what I'm using the hand. This piece is like a pre-space before I move forward into technoshamanism, where I was becoming a dog and trying to be a dog and access a world that I don't have. And while like these stories are fictional and not like necessarily a different state of mind, while in technoshamanism, I am actively trying to make a ritual, and trying to get into a different space and getting closer to metaphysics, I guess. This is the first piece where I'm actually thinking about technoshamanism, utilizing technology in order to be elsewhere outside of my body or be elsewhere in a form spiritual way. This is Chupa Flor whistling Speedy the Key. This is generative AI based on memories of my past, of a person I'm trying to reach out. And this is the textures of the 3D model that is being displayed in the background. And there's also this particle system that has different poems, and that they keep changing every time. The hummingbird that has like some sort of wings that became ears holds a microphone where you speak or whistle in order to get the message than trying to provoke. Sort of giving your oxygen of your finite breathing into the system in order to get a response and trying to have this connection to a different living, a different state of living forms. So ritual is key, and it's becoming key in most of my work, where I try to utilize both ritual technology in order to find something that I cannot find in other ways. This is one of the poems that is in the piece. I feel my soul fleeting when whistling. I whistle, call, whistle, linger in the past, wind, sound from our soul, meld in past, present, time elongated in the message. All this research and thinking about energy has made me land into thermodynamics. The idea that these 3 laws of energy preservation and conservation of energy and transformation or acknowledgement that energy cannot get destroyed, right? It just gets transformed. I come up with this idea while I was in a residency in Okoboji in Iowa, where I was in this lab where they studied diatoms, these microcellular single cell algae that I learned that creates 20 to 30% of oxygen of the earth that we breathe. Again, really thinking about this way of living material that allows us to exist. I was heavily surprised that I didn't know the existence of these diatoms and how much my life and the life of all living beings depend on them. Also was inspired by The Fire of Life, an introduction to animal energetics by Max Kleber, where it talks about the starvation and physical aspects of our metabolism and how we understand or calories as a way of living, energy. Thinking about entropy, order, and how the energy of the calories is not the same. For some reason, we don't understand the calories that we take as the energy that our computers or machines and all or like modern technologies utilize. This brought me into this rabbit hole in order to make this piece about diatoms, a diatom space where you're a diatom and you have to give heat from your body in this installation, and that allows you to move in the world, to hear these poems about heat, Lavoisier, thermodynamics, torture, calories, life, like what does life means in terms of energy, a painful flow, and a thinking sand, a microchip, artificial intelligence. This is also made on a game engine, and I'm using temperature sensors that detect the temperature of your body, basically the energy that you're radiating, in order to move at a certain speed in the game engine. The sound is a binaural composition, where each space sort of changes the soundtrack or the soundscape based on your placement. So based on your energy that you move and the speed of location that you are. Each word represents one diatom.
Release, submerge, embrace, flow, continuity, intertwine, union, quantum, possibilities, whirl, movement, amplify, intensity.
This machine, I'm calling machine because it's like you're in a chair feeding your energy and then you have this experience that reacts based on that. And then this collection or gathering of this energy, to me, echoes the biological process by Kleber's work from the book, where he talks about the parallels between the natural and the artificial systems, and both need an energy in order to become part of the system. Basically, I'm trying to make the analogy, yeah, both technology and nature both require this energy. We're all interconnected by the way our systems are built, and it's just I'm trying to make these connections more, I guess, obvious. And I'm trying to make sense about the time that we're living right now, where more artificial intelligence processes are being implemented in all assets of our human way of being. I think mediation is in immersive media. And most of this piece, I guess what I'm trying to provoke is this ritualistic moment where you get lost in the sense that you become a diatom. And ideally forget about the sound, forget about the visuals, and get in this new state, a technoshamanic space, where you can perhaps reach other forms of state or being. And this is just like an image of the installation I had at Iowa at the end of my residency, where the viewer is holding the temperature sensors and somebody else is helping them move around. I'm still unsure how I'm gonna resolve the movement of the visualizations, speculating about using computer vision in order to track your eyes, or perhaps a ball, just like a kind of like a mice, or even a VR headset motion sensor to put on top of your head. Still thinking about it. And that's it. That's how I'm using thermodynamics and memory, and how I'm using technoshamanism, and my relationship with technology as I'm working in my practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you very much. Excellent.